Hey guys, this vlog is about the article Anthropological Praxis, Theory of Business Organization by Tomoko Hamada. I'm going to do this vlog in reverse, so I'll go through the theories of practice that are applicable to this article. The first is the use of praxis theory. It can be summed up pretty nicely in the following few sentences from the article. Hamada is quoted as saying, "I have argued that the practice of business anthropology is an immensely fertile ground for anthropological theory building. In this venue, the cogency of studying the actual process cannot be overemphasized. The researcher must examine not only what happens and what it means to the people, but also why it matters to them, because this is where we find the patterns of human creativity and culture in the making." Secondly, but less of a use, is the policy theory, but Hamada does say, quote, "Organizational transformation is an urgent task and the stakes are high." And to an even lesser extent does Hamada utilize the linear and feedback theories, although she does make references to symbolic anthropology, political economy, and postmodernist ideas. To summarize, Hamada starts by giving a brief history of the study of business organizations, which started in the US in the 1930s but declined in the 50s and 60s. In the 80s, organization scholars questioned objective observation, the priority of deductive research methodology, and the emphasis of quantitative data collection, which kind of falls along the same lines as postmodernist ideas. The cultural approach in organization studies started from the assumption that ideas, perceptions of reality, and meanings shared by the collective are central to the features of organizational life. As Hamada states, the cultural model utilizes various aspects of organizational phenomena like the individual thought process, language and symbols, behavior, material products, technology, socio-political structures, and the larger environment. Hamada's research includes the total quality movement by the Japanese business elite, which is a multinational firm headed by managers and engineers who work with different people around the world in similar work environments and engage in a new type of corporate quality consciousness. In the 50s, manufacturers in Japan shifted focus from conformity to requirements to the company-wide commitment to customer needs. In the 70s and 80s, Japanese TQM, or total quality movement, included statistical process control, continuous improvement, focus on the customer, and cross-functional collaboration. In the 1990s, the focus shifted from customer satisfaction to ecological excellence. This shift occurred parallel to larger socioeconomic trends during this time, and because of this, sorry, I have a cat who's really distracting me. Because of this, society's view of the corporation also shifted. Business models began to adopt philosophies with the following principles as guidelines. For example, do not take more than nature needs to revitalize itself, and the individual employee must contribute to environmental conservation through corporate and civil activities. Anthropological focus around these transitions focused on narratives and language, such as the use of the term kyose, or Kyose, which I'm probably saying that wrong, so don't judge me, which means living together. Many large corporations began implementing environmental practices with mission statements that included terminology like this. New metaphors were also introduced, and it became management's goal to create a shared vision among organizational members due to the various and sometimes conflicting perceptions that exist among individuals within organizations. Terms in these larger corporations also linked work with biology, and terms included total product lifestyle, bioremediation, and sustainable development. Hamada then shifts the focus of the article to the analysis of organizational cultural models to quality issues through three different research models. The first is the integration model, which this perspective seeks organization-wide consensus and emphasizes sharing a cognitive scheme. This incorporates the concept of culture through shared beliefs. The differentiation model explores dynamics of power, conflict, and normative orientation and acknowledges inequality. The incorporation of culture is utilized through establishing norms and values in an organization, particularly through linking the socio-cultural environment to the forefront of quality culture. This is done by exploring the relationship between local-global connections and cultural reproduction and power. The last is the fragmentation model, which focuses on ambiguity and lack of shared meaning in organizational culture. This model incorporates culture through symbolic interpretation and focuses on deviations and various perceptions in an organization. Hamada states that an organization can be studied anthropologically through its expressive ideational, and symbolic aspects. Critics of the cultural model argue that it lacks explanatory power, is too vague, or does not have a universal definition of culture. Ultimately, Hamada argues that quality culture studies allow for theory building in anthropology because it shifts the discipline into the public domain. It also allows for studies in how people produce knowledge, shift cultural practice, and utilize language and meaning, and ultimately understand power dynamics through examination of organizational leadership and the ability to create different realities based on these relationships and the resources between the leaders and the everyday worker. And that about sums it up. All right, bye.